If you die, there's nothing to fear. Why? Because you will either go to heaven or to hell. If you go to heaven, there's nothing to worry about. You'll be okay. Even if you go to hell, there's nothing to worry about. You'll find so many of your friends. So for a long time just greeting them, how are you? Before your time for the fire comes. So therefore, don't fear. You have nothing to fear as Kenyans. We will succeed in the long run.
Before we begin anything today, I want to take a moment to send our deepest condolences to family, friends, and supporters of a man who changed the course of Kenyan history or Kenyan's history, Right Honorable Raila Odinga. Kenya, Africa, and the entire world have lost a true statesmanship. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Some people die and are forgotten, but some, like Raila Odinga, leave footprints so deep that even time cannot erase them. And it's a big blow to Kenyan politics. It's a big blow to the democracy movement. It's a big blow to Pan-Africanism. Grand Rising people, today, the video I'm going to shoot today, or this video, is not just a commentary, but it's a tribute. We mourn the passing of Raila Odinga, a father, a husband, a freedom fighter, and a symbol of Kenyan long and difficult journey towards democracy. And to his wife, Mama Aida Odinga, and the entire Odinga family, we say, pole sana. From Kenyan Beast team, from African Way fraternity, from my brothers and sisters from abroad, we are saying pole sana. To his supporters across the country, we stand with you. I was his supporter. I am still his supporter. I am a member of his political party, ODM. So this moment for grief, we stand with each and everyone. He stood up when it was dangerous to speak. He sacrificed his comfort for the sake of the common citizen, and he carried a dream of a better Kenya on his shoulders for over 5 decades.
Fellow Kenyans, I am very delighted and I stand before you here today, a proud son of Kenya, a liberation fighter and a servant of the people for the last 50 years. Today, I boldly declare that I'm neither repentant nor regretful of my own experience in the fight for a liberated Kenya. I bear my physical and psychological scars with pride. And this is because my country was worth it then and is worth it now. I bear scars of liberation with pride and embrace the blood, sweat, and tears they cost me. By the way, the tears from the torture chambers are still running, as you can tell from the handkerchief that never leaves my hand. For years, I was not allowed to speak with other inmates. In fact, for 60 straight years, I did not sleep on a bed. For months on end, I was either held incommunicado, in solitary confinement, or handcuffed and in transit to the next prison or detention camp. A relative died, including my beloved mother and my own brother, and I never got the chance to say goodbye.
Let me just try to shed light on the early life and background of Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga was born in January 7th in 1945 in Maseno, Kisumu country. He was the son of Kenya's first Vice President Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, a man who fought for independence and laid the foundation of Kenya's early political struggle. Raila studied mechanical engineering in East Germany at the Otto von Guericke University in Magdeburg, where he earned his master's degree. When he returned to Kenya, he became a lecturer at the University of Nairobi and later worked at the Kenya Bureau of Standards, eventually rising to deputy director. But destiny had a greater mission for him, and this was politics. He fought for democracy. He called it the struggle of democracy. In the late 1970s and 1980s, Kenya was under a one-party regime led by President Daniel Arap Moi. Now, during this time, Raila Odinga became one of the strongest voices calling for multi-party democracy and freedom of expression. He was arrested, detained without trial, and endured years of imprisonment, but he never gave up. Even in the dark cells of Kamiti prison, his resolve never broke. He emerged stronger, more determined, and more committed to the people's cause. His fight wasn't about position or power. It was about principle. He knew that democracy must be fought for and not begged for.
The case of Coup d'Ivoire, I was involved in the Coup d'Ivoire. I was appointed by the AU as a mediator. I teamed up with a team which had been appointed by ECOWAS on the Coup d'Ivoire crisis. Now we reached a stage where we made a recommendation that there's a need for a military intervention in the conflict. The ECOWAS was not able to send a team. So Nigeria, being the biggest player at that time, was facing an election. And President Jonathan told us that they were not able to send troops at that time because it would be used by these opponents in the election campaign against him. The situation was precarious, and the French were given a nod through the back door to assist, and the French assisted in actually removing an illegitimate regime and putting back into power a regime which a party which had actually won the elections genuinely. So in my view, that was a very positive intervention which needed to be celebrated rather than condemned by Africans.
When Kenya finally embraced multi-party democracy in the early 1990s, Raila Odinga contested for a parliamentary seat and won. He became a member of parliament of Lang'ata in 1992, and from there he began shaping policies that would later transform Kenya's political landscape. He served as Minister of Energy, Minister of Roads, Public Works and Housing, and later became Prime Minister in 2008 after the post-election crisis. As Prime Minister, Raila worked hand in hand with President Mwai Kibaki to bring peace after one of the Kenya's darkest political moments. He pushed for reforms, infrastructure development, and unity in a deeply divided nation. Raila Odinga's political philosophy was rooted in one word, which was justice. He believed every Kenyan, rich or poor, deserved equal opportunity. He spoke for the voiceless, stood for the jobless, and fought for the youth. His leadership was not just about tribe. It was about truth, not about power, but about people. He led from the front, even when his victories were stolen, even when he was betrayed, and when others gave up, but he was still leading from the front.
I will speak as one who has journeyed with Kenya and who wishes this country well. I believe strongly that no matter our disagreements, our visions and disappointments, we have to have our country first. We may hold as lofty visions, as we wish, but without a country to implement the ideas, they will remain mere wishes and deferred dreams. An imperfect nation making efforts to become a more perfect union is preferable to a nation that went under. So this meeting is taking place at a particularly opportune moment. It is the first since the ODM and the UDA signed an MOU that not only preserve the nation, but also set out a broad agenda for the creation of a people-centered, proactive, inclusive, and pragmatic service delivery. The review also comes at a trying time for the country, emerging for those demanding better services and more say in government. The ferment is also driven by those who feel they have to be in power. Both categories are citizens of Kenya. They deserve a hearing. It is my hope that this policy and performance review could lead to a better understanding and ownership of the government by the people. With the lessons from the recent past, I would say that going forward, everything has to be about the people, not the leaders. One of the lessons I hope you have picked is that without the people's understanding and ownership of government policy design and execution, a perception will persist that the government is not delivering. So the persistent concern going forward must be, are we carrying the people along? The country has seen upheavals in recent days. While there are those praying for more of such turmoil as a possible path to power, there are millions of others working and praying for the nation to overcome, stand, and thrive no matter our political differences. My position is that leaders are put in place for difficult times to help turn the tide by providing solutions. We are put in place to merely, we are not put in place to merely follow the current. The challenge the national executive must impress on its officials is that they consistently ask themselves, are we leading or following the people? In a time of challenges, are we trying to turn the tide merely or trying to survive by doing what is easy and popular? Are we listening to the people or merely talking at them? From outside, you've seen leaders running away from leading and opting for what is easy and popular. In the budget of 2025-26, we have seen an attempt by the government to address the concerns that led to the upheavals of last financial year. Going forward, the government must look into more avenues for more response to the burdens of the people. This government must do, not in order to be popular or to win the next election, but because it is the right thing to do. And if you look at Korea in the 60s, it was just like rural Kenya. If they show you what it looked like, the rural Korea, it was like our rural Kisii today. An urban slum where people are living all over the place, the agricultural land, people living everywhere. Then they decided deliberately that they need to bring people together. People live together. They came up with an idea of housing. But this housing was not just building shelter for people. You are addressing 5 fundamental issues here. You are addressing employment, you are addressing shelter, you are addressing education, you are addressing health and social amenities. So it becomes an integrated development. If you build affordable houses in Kibra and leave it there, people, they will move in. But how are they going to pay the mortgage? You must put up workshops there for them where they're going to work, put a market there where they will sell their wares, okay? And put a school somewhere where the children will go, put a health center somewhere there where if they're sick they'll go. and a social place where they can go for recreation, or they can go for one for the road after work. Then it becomes sustainable. It becomes sustainable. So I'm happy that
to millions of Kenyans, he remained, but means the father of modern democracy. The 2007 elections marked a painful chapter in Kenya's history. When the results were disputed, the country was thrown into chaos. Violence erupted and many lives were lost. But Raila Odinga chose the path of peace. Instead of revenge, he chose conciliation. He agreed to a power-sharing deal and created a position of prime minister, serving from 2008 to 2013. His decisions helped stop the bloodshed and saved the nation from civil war. And that moment showed the world that true leadership is not about holding power, but it's about protecting your people. One of Raila Odinga's greatest contribution was his relentless push for constitutional reforms, and the results was the 2010 Constitution of Kenya, one of the most progressive in Africa. It introduced devolution, ensuring that power and resources were shared across counties, not just concentrated in the capital city, Nairobi. And that was Raila's dream, okay? A fairer, free Kenya where no child would be left behind. Even after losing multiple presidential elections, Raila Odinga remained unifying figure. In 2018, he shocked the world when he shook hand with his former rival, President Uhuru Kenyatta. That moment, known simply as the handshake, symbolized peace, maturity, and forgiveness.
I will shake the hand of my rivals and pay the political price if I have to. I will shake their hand if I win, and I will shake their hand if I don't.
If you look at Raila Odinga's accolades and the resilience, if you trace Raila's history from 1970s, you will always trace Raila's name and presence in Kenyan struggle for democratic space.
He later served as African Union High Representative for Infrastructure Development, taking his vision beyond Kenya's borders and across the continent. Raila understood that Africa's progressive depends on unity and not division. He has left a legacy. Raila Odinga's story is one of resilience. He may not have sat in the State House as president, but he ruled the hearts of millions. He taught us that true victory isn't always about titles. Times it's about the truth you stand for, even when you stand alone. He inspired generations to believe in democracy, to demand justice, and to never settle for less than what is right. Today, as Kenya and Africa, we mourn. And we must also celebrate, because leaders like Raila Odinga don't die. They live forever in the hearts of those they liberated. He was not just a politician. He was a movement, not just a man, but an echo. May the name Raila Amolo Odinga echo through history as a symbol of courage, sacrifice, and hope. Rest in peace, Baba. You fought the good fight. You finished the race. You kept the faith. And Kenya, your beloved home, will never forget you.